Morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Here we are. We've got a few weeks left of school, and we're in our second to last topic. So, equations of circles. We're going to learn how to write equations that correspond to circles. So, I'm going to zoom in here in a moment, but what I would love for you to do is pause the video and see if you can notice how these graphs relate to the equations of their circles. Okay, so what do you notice? And what do you wonder about? All right, so pause here. All right, after looking at it, I hope you noticed a few things. So if I look here at all the radii, so I'm going to actually draw them in. Radius of A is 6, radius of B is 4, radius of circle C is 5. That was a bad drawing, but that's okay. Radius of circle D is 2. Where do the radii show up in the equations? Okay? Now, if you look at the numbers that are on the right side of the equal sign, the radius pops up there. And it may not be obvious, but I'll do one. If I take the square root of 36, that's where this 6 appears for my circle's radius. For circle A, if I try that again for circle B, the square root of 16 is 4. Look back at my picture, the radius is 4. If I look back at circle C, radius is the square root of 25. Check with my picture. All right, great, it works out. They check out, and then the radius is 2, so the square root of 4 is 2. They all check out. So in our equation so far, that number is the radius squared. All right. Now if we look at the centers, okay, if you look at the center for circle A, I've got a center in the graph is -2, +3. But look in the equation, it's written with the opposite sign. Let's see if that's true again. Center for circle B is 0, 6. All right, since there's a 0 for the x-coordinate, it's just x squared. So that's good to know. And, oh look, the y-coordinate's the opposite sign in the equation again. Let's check the other two. 4, -4 for the center of C. Ooh, opposite sign here. Okay, and one more time. Center of D is 8, -2, and in the equation it's flipped. All right. So I hope you noticed that too. One thing I do want you to notice is that these are actually the same. They would produce the same circle even if you wrote the y first, as long as you write the same y-coordinate. See? I would still get a y-coordinate of -2 here, and an x-coordinate of +8, and a radius of 2, and still end up with circle D. Okay, so we're actually going to practice some. You can, you actually have the option of using a program to try it out to see if you can get it. And that's what the picture should look like. If you want to, you can come back here and just do it without the computer. It's up to you, but I'm going to do the first one with you. Circle E here, so the center is at 10, -4, and then the radius equals, and we could just count, 4. All right, and what I learned from before is that when I write my x-coordinate, I put the opposite sign and then square it. When I write my y-coordinate, I put the opposite sign, square it, and then I square my radius. So 4 squared is 16. Like that. All right, so pause here. You could try it again on Desmos.com or just try it by hand here. When you come back, we'll check our answers. All right, for circle F, its center is at -9. This point is at -9, -3. Radius is 7. So x plus 9, because I've got to do opposite sides, squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 49. Okay? Try again for h. Oops. Center is at -6, 6. Radius is, if I draw it out, is 3. X plus 6 squared, y minus 6 squared, and then I square the radius, so it's 9. Oh, whoops, that's circle H. Hold on, let's move that over. That belongs here. All right, we'll actually try circle G this time. All right, it's very little. Its center is at 0, 0, and its radius is 1. So if its center is at 0, 0, you have two options. You can write plus or minus 0 here. Doesn't matter to me. And then 1 squared is 1. Or you could just leave it as x squared plus y squared. That's probably the simplest form. Remember, 1 squared is 1. 1 squared equals 1. Okay? Something to make note of. And then circle J, the center is 5, 5. And the radius is 5. So we've got x minus 5 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals the radius squared, so 5 squared is 25. All right? And there it is. We're just going to practice now after we write in our yellow pages. So where does the equation come from? So hopefully it's a little bit easier to see. But if we try this out a little bit, this point here, the center is at h to the right, k up. And then this point on the circle is x to the right and y up. Okay, so we're going to write expressions for the lengths of the vertical and horizontal dotted line segments. So from here to here, we call it x minus h. That's how far they are apart. It's just like saying, what if x was 10 and h was 6? If I said, how far apart are those? You'd say, ooh, 10 minus 6, 4. So that means here, this is y minus k. All right? Now, I'm going to draw that in the picture. So this is x minus h. This is y minus k. And we can actually relate those three sides with Pythagorean theorem. X minus h squared, so 1 leg squared, plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And that's where the equation of a circle comes from. So if you take out your yellow pages, all right, equation of circle, that's where it is. And that's why we have that's why we have opposite signs in our equation, because of these minuses. It actually really means take the opposite of that value. And so we're going to add here where HK is the center, R is the radius. And you can always draw, make this a little bit larger, a picture of the circle in here for yourself. You know, do something like that. Say that's HK, and then draw your radius in. Okay? Make sure you have that done, and we'll do a few practice before we go. All right, it's just this page left. Given the graphs to the right, write the equation for each circle. You can go to Desmos.com to check your answers. All right, pause here, try it out, and then you can check with me. Okay, circle F. So again, I'm just going to check for the center and radius. So the center is at 6, 5. The radius is 6. So I'm going to write x minus 6 squared plus y minus 5 squared, because we're doing opposite values for the coordinates of the center, equals the radius squared, 36. Okay? For G, you've got a center at -9, 2, and a radius of 2. So it's x plus 9 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 2 squared, which is 4. And then for h, the center here is at 0, -8. You also have a radius of, let me see if I draw it. I can count it this way, a radius of 5. So I can write it two ways. I can write x plus or minus 0 squared, y plus 8 squared, and then square my radius, which is 5 squared, 25. Or I could have just written the x coordinate like that with an x squared there. Okay? Either is acceptable. And when you show me your work, I would take either. Okay? All right, 2 more practice. I would suggest pausing here. See if you can do these 2. All right. And then you can check in with me. Okay, so from the equation, here's my center. I have to take the opposite side. So -2, 5. Then my radius, well, this is not a perfect square. So I actually have to I'm going to take out my calculator because I have to eventually draw it. And I've got 1.73. The square root of 3 is 1.73. So I'm going to zoom in a little. It's easier for me to draw it. So you're just going to estimate it when you draw the radius. So -2, +5. So I actually want you to draw the center when you graph. Okay? Draw the center. And 4 points on the circle. So if you want full credit for the question like this in your homework, you've got to do that. So there's a center. And then from here, I'm just going to go 1.73 units to the right, 1.73 units to the right, 1.73 units up, 1.73 units to the left of the center, 1.73 units below. And so there's my circle. Very tiny, but it's exactly what we needed to have happen there. Okay? Number 3, you're going to pause, try it out, and then come check in with me. All right, the center here is 3, -5. The radius is, if I count this way, is 4. So your equation is x minus 3 squared plus y plus 5 squared equals the radius squared. So 4 squared is 16. Remember, this number comes from squaring the radius. All right, that's it. Be good. Have fun at eSchool. See you on Thursday. Well, actually, I'll see you on Wednesday. New lesson on Thursday. Bye.